Hello there, and welcome to Freely Creative, where we're making beauty from ashes while relieving some stress in life. I'm Liberty, your creativity and life restoration coach. I believe creativity is for everyone, no talent required. So join me on this journey and let's create. Today's project is a Matchbook Folio with book page pockets that fold out in an accordion style, making them nice and deep. This idea was inspired by Linda Israel from her April 22 challenge to make this. So you can find her way of doing this on her YouTube channel and blog. Let's get started on making this simple little folio that takes very few supplies and turns out so cute and is so handy. The supplies we need for today's project are really simple. Even though this matchbook folio is so cute, all you need for it is 4 sheets of book pages or other paper and 1 strip of cardstock pattern design. For my decorations, I'm going to use a napkin, and for my closure, I'm going to use a label. In addition to that, you'll just need your typical supplies: scoreboard, trimmer, mixed media mat, and then some adhesives, ink pad, and blending foam if you want to do that. Some scissors. I want to round my corners, so I'll use my corner rounder. A brush to apply my adhesive or gesso, and a water brush. So some people make these using just glue sticks. I've never had good luck with different glue sticks staying stuck long term. My favorite glue is Distress Collage Medium, and I use this one that comes in the jar for doing my collaging and napkin putting on, but you could also use gesso for that, and for putting the pockets together you could use the glue, but I use either my ATG gun or score tape. So that is all that you need. Go grab your supplies and let's get started and see where today's journey takes us. So the first thing we need to do is cut down our papers. And we want our book pages, if you want the same size that I'm making here, then your book pages are going to be 5 1/4 wide and 8 1/2 tall. Now, of course, you can make them any size you want depending on what size your book pages are that you're getting started with. So this book page measures just over 5 1/2, and so that's where I'm going to cut mine. I'm going to cut mine at 5 1/4 because that will work out for the measurements that are going to work for my things. Okay, then we also want to cut it at 8 1/2 tall. Now I'm going to do that by folding mine in half first so I don't have to grab my bigger trimmer. And that way I can just cut it at 4 1/4, or it's just slightly smaller than that, so this will work for what I'm going to do. So cut all 4 pages like that. The other cutting you're going to need to do is your strip. Now I have lots of these offcuts from 12 by 12 cardstock, patterned cardstock, that are 3 1/2 to 4 inches wide. And so that works just perfect because our pockets are going to turn out to be 3 1/4 inches wide. So you want a strip that's about 1/4 of an inch wider than your finished pockets. And for mine, it came out to about 9 1/2 inches. So I just took a 3 1/2 inch wide strip of pattern cardstock, and I cut it off to be 9.5 inches long, and that's going to work perfect for my pages. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is score our book pages, and we want to score them at 1/2 inch and 1 inch from each side. I'm going to do it on the back side of my page. If you want your writing to go right, then you will have it front and back. If you don't care if it's upside down, then it doesn't make any difference. So let's see if I can do this on here without going too far. And I just said I was going to do it on the back. So I'm cutting on that score line, and I'm only going to that halfway fold. Okay. Then I want to trim those off by cutting just a slight angle into that fold from the front piece. Okay, so now we've got these little tabs on the front that'll fold in, and we'll glue them down to the back. Okay, and that'll form our pocket. And then we want to score them and if your papers are brittle, be really careful in scoring them so you don't go all the way through. Okay, and fold all of those score lines and burnish them. Okay, so fold up your pocket, give that a good crease, and you've got your pocket made and a nice finished front on the inside. Okay. And they have a little more glue on the sides. Okay. And the next thing we want to do is we want to cut off that first score line just to the halfway fold mark. And I'm going to do that on, let's see, do I want it on the, okay. Add a little bit more to my front flap, since it's probably dried out by now. I guess this is back flap, and it's going to fold right inside, and it's going to, by doing it afterwards, it's going to help hold that side that we glued, that little flap down, and that'll help keep the top of your pocket from coming unglued or ripped. And there we go. Now obviously you can see this pocket's much bigger than this one, but that's where these extra score lines that we put in come into play. Fold them both directions to get them nice and flexible. And then you're going to cut at an angle starting at that fold line and just going up to the edge at an angle. And these do not have to be exactly the same angle like when making a tab, because they're not going to see it all, be seen at all. What you're going to do then is push your fold line in, and this is going to create a little gusset in your pocket. You can put these on the outside if you want. I prefer them hidden. And let's cut these little squares just at the top. Let's cut those off too, just to get rid of the bulk there. Okay, now we've got this folded part on the top, and I prefer to fold this in after I've glued the sides. You can certainly do it either way. Add a little more glue to keep that. And then you're able to tear it right along that watered edge very easily. And you've got a nice organic okay. Push that in and burnish it well. My favorite brush for doing collaging, and there we not only have a big book page, it's so much easier, but it has a nice gusset in it so that it'll open and up like a pouch. Then we glue all mediums off of our pages. a regular together brush. And the way that we do this so that they'll open nice and wide like this, kind of an accordion fold, is by putting adhesive only down the center, not on the complete front of the pocket there, but just down the center. And like I said, I'm going to use score tape. I could use my ATG gun or liquid glue, but score tape will grab. So, and maybe before I attach my front pocket on there, I'm going to go ahead and decorate it. And how I'm going to decorate this one is with a napkin collage. And I'm going to use that little piece that I cut off there and make a little tiny pocket down at the bottom of that. So let's start with our napkin collage. Go over the top gently. The easiest way to get a nice organic tear around the edges is to use really well a paintbrush or a water brush that's damp. We don't want it too wet, but damp, and go around the design that you want, just getting a little bit of water along that. Along that watered edge very easily. Inch and a quarter. And then we'll cut that extra. Organic tear the edges, torn edge there that'll meld just into, to give them a little definition. And decide if I want to round the corners or just leave it straight. Round this one a little. I think I'll leave it straight, but I think I do want to put a little thumb notch in that. So, because I want to add a little bit of gesso just to take that print back a bit, I am going to use my gesso to do my collaging with rather than my Distress collage medium. So I'll put just a big drop of that on my mat here. And then we just want to glue the 3 sides that don't have the notch in it, just right along the edge. A regular bristle brush. And there we've got our pockets for our little matchbook. So let's work on our matchbook next. And after I got that text knocked back a bit, I do not score and fold, adding some gesso folds on this. On there, I lay my little booklet in, and I good layer all over 3/4 where the butterfly is going to go, so that it will be completely stuck down. Note where that's going to be for cutting it down. I want any spots without checked that it would overlap, but still leave a gap here of about 1/2 inch. So once I know where this fold is where I want it to be, then I can glue this down to the back. Now on Linda's, she glued a piece of cardstock on the back here and then just glued around 3 sides to create another back pocket on hers. But I'm just going to glue mine straight down. And since I'm using white gesso instead of clear, it's going to knock that back a little bit also. I'll just glue 3 sides of this coloring of that and just see how that works to use the book page itself as the back pocket. Scrape off as much as I can off the, line this up the best you can to be straight and centered. Okay. Now I'm going to make the pocket down for this. As we said, this is a little wider than these pockets, so I need to cut. Ruler can be a good help. A little bit off to get that pressed down really good on the sides and the bottom. Probably about an inch. Okay. The top is going to fold up, and or the bottom's going to fold up, and the top's going to overlap that. So on mine, let's see what that works out to be. It should just be a quarter, I guess. To collage the rest of this little napkin piece onto the nice little pocket flap here. Because this pocket is so small, I'm just going to use my 1-inch punch and just take a little tiny bit off. I'm going to fold that in half and just crease that very top that okay, looks good to me. Probably should have put this on before I glued my book pages on, but oh well, it'll work. And I'm going to use my Distress Collage medium for this one, since I'm not knocking back any print or anything with the white gesso like I did inside. Don't have the notch in it, just right along the edge. And put our pocket on. Okay. And then we'll attach this to the other 3 pockets that I had already done. And if you're using score tape, just know that it attaches and doesn't come loose, so be sure you've got everything lined up really well before putting that down. Almost done here. I am going to ink the edges inside, since the outside. And I am going to round the corners here. Do that before I finish inking. I'm going to put a little bit of ink along the bottom and top edges also. part of that. Okay. Line everything up well. Make sure you're centered and where you want your tab to be. And take out your top to make sure it doesn't get glued in there. There you have it, a matchbook folio with book page pockets that open up in accordion style. Isn't that cute and so easy to make? Thank you, Linda, for the inspiration for this. Be sure to check out Linda's YouTube or blog to see how she made hers.